Have you missed us? Because we missed you.
We missed you a lot.
So we're back after break.
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
I hope you guys are good.
Oh, things are good?
Yeah. Did you enjoy the holidays, hopefully?
Okay. So, Soleil, do you want to structure this of how we want to do it?
Yes. Okay, so we have quite some news for you guys today. We knew that we couldn't come back from the new start of the semester for us and not bring back some structure and organization for us.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be mentioning 3 little things today. Can you see that? Little 3? So, we're going to be talking about our chapter chats, which you guys are very familiar with. And then Leslie will do a little surprise of what book we're reading. But if you guys paid attention to our Instagram, it should be on our current reads in our bio.
Yes.
Then we're going to tell you guys another little segment that we're going to be coming up with very soon, at almost towards the end of the podcast.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, guys. I think you guys are going to love it.
Okay, so... So our book for this episode was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. It came to me at a very different, same way of like how a lot of other books that came into my life, like this came in like I was in a rut situation, I will say. Like a book slump, as people in the book community will like to say.
Absolutely.
It's called a book slump. And I read it out of recommendation from one of my now roommates, McKenna.
Shout out McKenna.
We love McKenna. She's an English major queen.
She's amazing.
And I wasn't expecting to like it as much because like it was. I feel like a lot of books that come out of, no offense to Book Talk. We love Book Talk. We live on Book Talk community.
We do live on Book Talk. We should really stop hating on Book Talk as much as we do.
It's just like, I feel like sometimes, like, sometimes the books are, like, like, they're, like, very honest and, like, very, like, true to, like, the vibe of it. But I feel like sometimes books just come out overhyped.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's eh. That's how I feel about Shatter Me, but we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. One thing I do want to mention before you get onto it with Book Talk is that I was actually reading a comment this morning, and I was going to text you about it, but I was like, I'll save it for the podcast.
Okay.
A lot of people now, like, they don't read the book description or what the author intended, and they just purely go off of TikTok comments, which because I was looking at a book, I forgot what book it was, but I was like going into my deep dive in the little archives, and someone was like, this book did not have enough romance, but the genre was mystery and horror.
Okay, I don't think we should be okay, as a population of people,
right,
I think we should read the description that is written by these publishing companies that have read this book multiple times, because that is how publishing works. It's through proofreading. I think we should be trusting them and not just people that maybe skimmed it or like read the first few pages like, there's not enough romance in this book, even though they just picked it because Book Talk recommended it. Right. Didn't care about looking up the genre, didn't pay attention to, like, not every book needs romance, you know? Yeah. Not every book.
And just because there is a prevalent relationship within a book does not mean that it has to necessarily just be about romance. Like, I read, I think 3 books over the summer, and because I was the person that did not look at the description at that point and was like, where's the romance aspect? They could have done more. Just to find out it is a completely different genre and it was not intended. So, guys, when we read a book, let's continue the genre. I don't think that applies for this book.
Yeah, though. I don't think this applies for this book. I just got into that conversation because I felt like I was really worried about reading this book for the first time because I thought it was just going to be another overhyped Book Talk book. Yeah. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Yeah. It is a really amazing book that discusses a lot of topics that I believe that are important to talk about. Right. Especially about assimilating to culture to fit in the way that like Evelyn is coming from her own cultural background and having to assimilate to appear, like, she even, like, dyed her hair blonde and, like, changed how she looked to fit in to the very much white, like, Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it.
No,
Had to fit into white Hollywood.
You hit that bullet. You hit that mark.
And I think that it's a very interesting conversation to have that we don't really talk about when it comes to Hollywood. And I know that, like, with this book, it's very evident that it is Marilyn Monroe inspired. Like, her character is very Marilyn Monroe-esque and, like, old Hollywood style.
Yes.
And I think that's also why I love it. And I wish we had more books about old Hollywood and, like, this style, like, fiction. Not, like, actual, like, books that were written during that time period, but, like, modern books that are written during, like, having that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we don't really have that many. And I want someone to write me one. I mean, I can do it myself, but I don't want to.
Come on, creative writing. Come on.
I could, but
guys,
I don't
inspire
wanna.
her. Tell her by the end of this year, we need to have, like, a little blurb at least, like a little spoiler book about a potential book that you might.
I mean, I already am writing one. It's just it's not prepared for that now.
Well, you have until, guys, keep her honest. You have until the end of this year.
I have until the end of this year to do that? Great.
Yeah, you do. Listen, that's an assignment that you're
using as part of my capstone.
So exactly, I was going to say. Your professor will probably give you the same exact assignment.
Yeah, have it done by the end of the year. Sure, that can happen. But anyways, I also really love the structure of this book. I don't know if we discussed, like, there's going to be spoilers during this, obviously.
There's always going to be spoilers.
If you haven't read it, though, like, that's on you. That's on you.
Don't feel bad if you haven't read it. It has been in my archived books, like, literally sitting at home in my little library for over 2 years.
Yes.
So, if I was not on this podcast, it still would probably be in one of those collections, but it's guys.
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
also, if you turn on this podcast knowing that this is the book we're going to be discussing, you should have read the book.
In a nicer way to say it, guys.
Yeah,
make sure to check out our Instagram because it shows us our current reads, and usually we update our current reads of what we're obviously currently reading, and that's most likely going to be in the book that we're going to be talking about in the podcast. So just read along with us. It's like a little experience.
We kind of wanted this podcast to be kind of like a book club in a sort of, like, we pick a book for the week and then we read it, and then you can read it with us, and, like, at the end we get an episode where we discuss that book.
So, yeah, it's a virtual, book club
in a way.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
Yeah,
it's
and
cute
also, like, if you guys, like,
idea.
even if, like, you want to, like, discuss stuff, we can even make a little, like, channel thing that's, like, new.
Yeah.
To, like, discuss the book.
I think
that'd be a cute idea.
That's a cute idea.
I think that's a cute idea. I don't know if we can do it, but that's cute.
You know what? If we put our mind to it, guys,
we can. Just like Ted Lasso, believe.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I had to bring that in.
We're gonna get into that later.
And back to Evelyn Hugo. With the structure, I really like that it was structured in the fact that you went through each husband, and that she also, like, named them. Yeah, it was really funny.
She name dropped them hard.
She really did. Do you want to talk about it? And I know that's part that you also really liked.
It is. For me personally, I love the fact that, like, she didn't hold back. Also, according to, like, the vibe that they had back then of, like, how it was so, I don't know if stigmatized is the best word to say, but, like, it was such, like, a thing where you wouldn't talk bad about someone that you've been in a relationship with, or especially someone of, like, a certain status, that you wouldn't just kind of, like, name drop them unless it was, like, a mutual thing or, like, in a positive aspect. And she really aired out their dirty laundry, because I think, and I hope you have that TikTok so I can put that audio in later, of something along the lines of, like, this is her business. Like, you guys want to know the juicy details of her life, but it's even more than what you could probably comprehend or what you initially thought. because she's airing out her business. And props to her.
Props to her.
Snaps for her.
And I was gonna say, even with that fact, like I'll get a little bit of like a summary of like what's going on in the book. So like, so like it opens up with the fact that there's this journalist that is tasked with writing. Well, she is asked to write her memoir. Yeah. Well, technically it's an autobiography.
It's an autobiography, but it's like technically a memoir.
And by Evelyn Hugo, and she is brought to. She originally didn't want to do it. She was just like, "That's not what I want to do."
Yeah.
But then, her boss was like, "But like it'd be good for the company." As it happens. That's what happens with corporations. They're like, but it makes the company look good.
For the family. For the family.
Just like Olive Garden. When you're there, you're family.
You're family. I was thinking Fast and Furious, but like
family. But with that respect, and then she goes to Evelyn Hugo's house multiple times and like is basically interviewing her, and that's where all these stories are coming from. You get little breaks, you get little commentary from Evelyn, and you go back and forth between present Evelyn and past Evelyn.
Right.
And I find that really interesting, especially because we don't really see, like, I also love another book that's called If We Were Villains by Emma Rio, and they have a very similar, not format, but like they go back and forth between past and present.
Right.
And I really love books that do that because it makes my brain be like, hey, this is interesting context for later.
Yes.
And also pay attention to this because it could come back later.
Yeah.
Which happens in this book because, like, you learn a lot about... spoilers.
Spoilers.
You finished it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Spoilers. I was like, I'm going to pause that before I say what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Her last husband... fun fact, Evelyn Hugo is gay. Fun fact.
Who would have knew?
Isn't
it in the book, though, like, pretty early on in the book?
I think it's, like, really like her second or third husband.
Yeah, I think,
you kind of get it really known that she's not fancying.
Not fancying the men.
Not that she's not fancying the men. I think she's more of, like, a bisexual, if anything. I think she's... I feel like
she's
definitely more lesbian leaning.
I feel like she's at the point where she tolerates men.
Yeah.
But
I think they just burned her too much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she doesn't enjoy men. It's just she prefers women.
Yeah. And if you guys want to know more, read the book. It's pretty good. It's a genuinely good book.
To quote the audio that you were talking about, the one that you're talking about is when she goes, so the journalist asked, like, something about, like, her, but you're only known as, like, the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yes. Well, they are only husbands.
Right.
I am Evelyn Hugo. Like, they are only husbands. I'm the important person in the story. And then, like, she goes on later, which is, like, my favorite drop line. Because it's the line that you, like, it is teased to the fact, but then when she drops that line, you're like, oh yeah, she really is what we've been thinking she is.
Yeah.
Because like the relationship between her and what's her name? Celia?
Celia? I almost said Celeste. Celia.
Has been teased as like a best friend relationship, like they were roommates kind of situation.
And they were roommates.
It's kind of like history reminds them as roommates, best friends.
They were lovers, guys.
They were lovers.
Very blatantly,
which is very blatantly, and what people didn't figure it out. Is insane. But. Yeah, and then they go on, like, the line that, like, gets dropped, and it's, like, a very, like, heartfelt, it's, like, my favorite line in the whole book. She's like, just wait until they find out about they'd be more, interested in my wife.
In my wife, yeah.
Like, it's just, like, yeah.
She dropped the bomb.
She dropped the ball. She dropped the mic on that one. And I find that part so interesting, and, like, it's sort of, I want to say it's sort of, I wouldn't exactly say it's a lavender marriage she was in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't call it that. It was, it's kind of a,
it's like in between a lavender, but like, I feel like it was like it almost could qualify like a regular marriage, but It's more like secrecy.
The reason why we're not sure what to call it is the fact that, so she marries this guy, it's like, I think her last husband, it's her last husband, right? And he's gay. And they marry because he's in love with someone else and she's in love with Celia. And so her and Celia can't get married, so she marries him and dates Celia on the like actually, and then and I think don't they all live together?
Yeah, because that's her best friend for like the entire story. Like, not to give spoilers, but that's her best friend. Their definition of best friend is how. It's not how it really put it.
It really is like best friend to lover story.
It is best friend,
and it's very sweet. But then there's also a lot of trauma. Yeah,
there's a lot of trauma in it, but like also that just makes the story more rich and more authentic. But I really do have to say again, like, not to go back on it, but the structure of the story really like meshes well with the plot and all the details.
100%. And the fact that like there's so many like parts that are so poignant to like old Hollywood. There's such many references to it, like the fact that they discuss the early version of Little Women that came out, which I love that little like part, because like the fact that they mention older actors and like reference them, and I'm like, oh, I understand who those people are. I know about them. I think they mentioned The Wizard of Oz is dropped because that came out in 1939. 39? I think that makes sense.
I was gonna say like 1940.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. Leslie knows things. It came out like there's so many like indistinct references, and I think without those references, because a lot of times they can take you away from the book a lot, I think they're very much needed, because without it, it'd just be like, oh, it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just another Hollywood story. But as I was getting at before, is that like between her last husband, an accident occurs, and like he gets in a car accident and dies. I think from what I remember, is it the driver or someone's in the car that also dies?
I believe so.
Isn't he was also in he was in a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And he also dies in the car. And it was like, oh, that's really sad that happens. And your brain doesn't really click until you're like wondering, why did she ask specifically for this journalist? This one specific journalist. This one journalist. And
then it clicks.
And then like you're like, and you're not really clicking it until like you hit, which I think is why this book is so smart.
It is very smart, but should we leave that so they can figure out why?
Yeah, we'll leave it up. We'll leave it up for you to figure out.
We'll leave it up for you to figure out, but there's also going to be another opportunity that we're going to talk about later, where we're going to spoil it.
We're going to debrief the ending, because it's honestly, I think the ending is nearly my favorite part of the book.
Yeah.
Because
it's really pieced together.
Without it, I feel like the book is very stagnant, where it's just so like, she is a closeted lesbian who is a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
Which in itself is interesting.
It's very good. Very good
but
plot.
like with the ending, it like makes it like hikes it up to like, oh, this book is so good.
I feel like it's really good throughout the book. Like, it could technically stand alone, but I feel like your brain clicks with it more because you finally tied it all together. Like, let's say like you have like a puzzle in front of you, instead of having those little mini pieces, it's like 4 or 5 of those mini pieces stuck together, and that's the last completing piece. Like the puzzle would look fine without it, but it like that one chunk that was missing that really had you like, wow, this makes sense, and it makes you think back about everything that she said through the entire book.
100%. I 100% agree with that. And I think what's also really important to mention is that this book is going to be turned into a film eventually.
Yeah.
And I actually am really excited for it. And that's saying something, because I'm very hesitant when it comes to books like this, because I'm just like, they could really ruin it. Yeah. Like they did with It Ends With Us. Yeah.
Also, guys, look out for the video where we do this or that. I'm just plugging in everything today.
I was gonna say, Leslie has very much opinions.
Yeah,
on stuff.
If you guys want to see some of our little opinions, you can check out our Instagram reels or TikToks, and we have a couple of challenges that we're gonna hopefully this week be posting.
Yeah,
and you can see our little personalities more off the podcast.
Yeah, so now that you guys because we're just trying to get this down and dirty kind of situation. We're just gonna discuss a book and and we're not, and we've kind of because of the structure. I feel like we needed to get to know you guys. You guys get to know us, and then we can get to know you guys too.
Yeah. Vice versa.
And what you want. With that being said, also, what I want to talk about is also, I know we want to talk about the fan casting that came out for the book.
Yes, we did.
So do you want to guess who they want to fan cast for older Evelyn?
I am thinking, I know her face of who I'm thinking about, but I forgot her name. And is it the blonde lady?
For older Evelyn?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
79 Evelyn.
79
older Evelyn.
Older. No, I have no idea who they would cast.
So I don't know if you know who this person is, but she is love of my life. I love her. She was on One Day at a Time on Netflix, and also was on in the original version of West Side Story.
You guys are gonna get some ASMR real quick. What's her name?
Her name is Rita Moreno. I think that is perfect casting. That is who I envisioned in my head when she is. I think she's in her 90s now, I think. So I think she's older than 79, but I feel like she could play that.
And she was in what?
She was in West Side Story. If you just look up the modern one, she was also in that, but she was in the original. She played Anita.
And you said Rita?
Rita Moreno.
Rita Moreno. Oh my goodness, my guys.
But I love her. I love her, and I think she'd be a perfect older Evelyn, the one that's getting interviewed. Yeah. I think she'd be perfect. And she was who I was envisioning in my head when I was reading it.
Yeah.
For current Evelyn, when everything's happening, they fan casted. This is according to my cast, but this is also ones that I've seen on TikTok as well.
Okay.
Ana de Armas, she was in Knives Out, the first one. And she also was in the Marilyn Monroe biopic movie that came out that wasn't great. But I can see her. She's not my pick, but I can see why people picked her.
And you said
Ana de Armas. If you look up Knives Out, she's should be the first one that comes up.
Okay.
She's the one who plays the lead. And
that's
I think
pick.
the only casted her as Evelyn is because she played Marilyn Monroe in the biopic. But it wasn't a good biopic. It wasn't a true to form Marilyn Monroe. It was a lot of fictionalized.
To be honest, it is very much hard, or it is very hard to pick someone to replicate older movie stars like Marilyn Monroe.
To be fair, I don't think that was the problem. I think it was the problem was the script and also the plot that they were trying to give.
Well, I mean, with the casting, the plot, because the actor can only do so much. We know that, but even for that, there's so much that they would need to do to go right, and there's way more that they can do to go wrong. That's also why I was saying I see why they picked her.
Right. For Monique Grant, they think Natalia Emmanuel as Monique Grant. I think she'd be excellent from looking at her. I think she'd be great. They think for Celia St. James, Jessica Chastain. She's a ginger.
Hold on, I'm finding it.
She was in I get her confused with the other one, but she's the one that was in Jurassic World.
Yes.
That's she's the right pretty. One. I get her confused with which is a common confusion. I get her confused with the one that was in Argyle and The Help. I get her confused with that one.
Yeah.
And I get her confused with Bryce Dallas Howard all the time.
Yeah.
And it's because they're both gingers and they're both white women. And they have the same face shape.
You just pissed off every
I'm just saying, but if you look at them back to back, they look the same to me in my brain.
There's a connection there.
Do you want me to show you both photos because they look very similar?
Go ahead. They
look very similar. So this is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Okay. Future me, pop a picture on the screen.
So this is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Right.
And This is Jessica Chastain. That one on this side.
They don't have that much of similar
It's a common thing in Hollywood for people confusing them. It's not just a me thing.
I know, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like she has very strong features.
Look at these two photos. Tell me you can't identify which one's which.
Yes. The top, okay, because I'm I'm a facial person. The top of like over here of her head,
I mean, yes,
is more outwards, and then her like the other one is just like very slim, square. She's, ooh.
See?
Ooh,
they look basically the same.
Copy and paste that. She got me.
They said copy and paste.
Oh.
See,
yeah.
It's not just me.
Yeah.
I get them confused.
It's okay. You're confused. I'm confused, bro.
It's like, a common confusion.
It's okay.
And for Harry Cameron, who's her fifth husband, and the one that she has children with.
Yes.
They casted Richard Madden from Game of Thrones. And the Cinderella remake.
Okay.
For Ari Sullivan, I forget who that is. I think he's like a producer, right?
Yeah.
Eugene Levy from Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
David Grant, who's Monique's ex-husband. They casted Aaron Tveit.
Okay.
For Evelyn's first husband.
Okay.
Ernie Diaz. They casted Danny Ramirez.
Okay. He's not gonna
for
be there
Don
long,
Adler, who is honestly the most like prevalent husband that I hate that man.
If you don't hate him,
something's wrong with you.
I want you guys to know, if you read the story, if you give it any consideration or thought at all, just know that you're gonna hate him. But like,
yeah,
she does such a good job.
The way
making me want to hate him. The guy could have been dead for 40 years now, and I still hate him.
Yeah, the name is they casted Scott Eastwood, who's
I'm so sorry, Scott Eastwood. You're gonna be hated.
I mean, I don't know. Adeline Kane, who is casted as Ruby Riley. Who I forget who that is.
I just fine. Okay, I don't.
I think the real one is the husband's. Yeah. Max Gerard is being casted as Luis Gariel. For Mick Riva, who's the third husband, is being casted as Austin Butler. I don't want to know. For Max North, husband number 4, they casted Alexander Skarsgård. I think he's meant to be older, anyways.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of just want to see Alexander Skarsgård in a romantic movie again.
You got to do it for the people.
Yeah.
You got to do it for the people.
So now that I understand, now I remember, is that Celia gets married to Harry's partner. And then Evelyn gets married to Harry. So then like it's like a whole
swap. Yeah.
They casted for John Braverman, who's Harry's partner and Celia's husband, Glenn Powell.
Really?
For Evelyn Harry's daughter, they casted Scarlett Estevez. I don't know who that is. And for the last husband, who's husband number 7 and Celia's brother, they casted Ryan Gosling. I think that's important. Just cast any. I mean, the true important ones are like Don Adler.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of descriptions about them in that one.
Yeah.
And like he has a certain bravado that like you have to get right.
Yeah. I feel
but
like
any other one, I don't really care about. Like you can
Harry
just cast any
just
famous
anybody.
Hollywood guy in there, and it'd be like, yeah, okay.
Be like, okay, they'll give us some clicks.
Sure.
Some views.
I'm like, sure.
As long as they do their little big one, then they're fine. Which, they're famous Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
So they fit the role.
Yeah.
Hollywood actors.
Yeah. Well, that's it for that one.
Yeah. Anyway, so have a cute little plug-in for you guys. I know that I posted on Instagram if you guys would want more segments where you can get like more in-depth parts of the books, because I know we kind of just like put little parts here and there But if you guys really want to like follow along with the journey and, you know, see more of our personalized side and get to know us, we're going to be having a segment on our YouTube channel, the same one that we have in our link tree, guys, called Cozy Convos, which basically is addressing recommendations from social media and how it's more personalized to know you guys better. So, like I've been saying all episode, follow us on, I want to say plug Instagram because we're really active on there.
Plug Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel. We're not just on Spotify.
Yeah, we have YouTube. We are
on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. So if you really, like, I know that especially with this upcoming couple of months, I've been trying to be more active on Instagram. So I'm always putting a poll. I'm always putting, like, do you guys have any book recs? Blah, blah, blah. And I really want to know. So our Cozy Convos is basically going to be us on either my couch, her couch, one of our beds, getting a little snuggled up, getting a little cozy, and we're having a cute little convo with you guys because, you know, I feel like the podcast it's fun and it's cute, but we need to have like a little girly chat.
Yeah, because I feel like...
Not only for girls, though.
Yeah.
Just, like, little girly chat.
You're like, only for girls.
I said not only.
Oh, I was like, I thought you said only for girls. I was like, oh, okay.
I would never say that. I just said not only for girls. But, like, you get it. Like,
yeah.
The girls, the gays, and days. We love you guys.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah. It's just for us to get to know you guys and for you guys to get to know us because we're kind of trying to structure this better into that we're getting down to the point.
Yeah.
And not rambling.
Which I think we did good, guys. Please let us know. I'm going to, when we post this podcast, which is hopefully this week, you guys can yell at me. It's February 11th right now. So if it's not up by this weekend, you guys are allowed to yell at me.
I know that you also wanted to possibly do a live stream at some point.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So if you guys want us to live stream so we can talk, you know, get to know everyone, have a little community. And if you guys just want to, again, be more involved in what we post and what you guys really want to see, because I know a lot of like influencers and content creators don't really get to do that, especially with such a large fan base, that we want to grow with you guys. So just expect Cozy Convos. Check out our YouTube channel. It's still Spines and Spells, correct? Spines and Spells. It'll be in the description on our Insta and down below.
Yeah. Well, you know what we talk about? It ends with us. I didn't have a transition.
You know what's more fun, guys? Getting into our pop culture moment.
Yeah, that's a transition. That's what you call a transition. I don't know if you guys know, but I've been living on TikTok ever since it got back on the internet. Ever since post-ban. And I've been seeing a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and I think it'd be really interesting to talk about. As someone who vehemently hates Colleen Hoover, but and wishes for her downfall, but also I remember reading It Ends With Us when I was in high school and thinking like, oh, it's a book, and I liked it, but then I didn't like it after I found out more about her. I was like, oh, that's sweet that she's talking about, you know, sexual abuse and abuse and domestic abuse in that realm.
Can you update me, because I am one of those people that again, my bookshelf is collecting dust.
So It Ends With Us follows Lily Bloom, who gets a floral shop that's very much it's very different. It's very unique floral shop. I believe, if I remember correctly, I read it like senior year in high school. And it was like I think it's like a very like goth mixed with like floral. It was like the descriptions were really cool.
Yeah.
And it opens with like so young Lily, who on the day of her dad's death, she is on a roof and she runs into this guy who is in like a surgeon outfit, and like she's in conversation with him, whatever. I forget what happens. Like they have like a little moment on there. It turns out to be Ryle later.
Okay.
From what I remember. And at some point, she has this experience with this guy who is homeless, from what I understand. And she has like a romance with him when she's like in high school. And he's the same age as her, so it's like, I think it's yeah. And then eventually she like leaves her house, blah blah blah, and like goes on, and she opens the floral shop and everything. She meets this guy named Ryle, who is her best friend's brother. And she quickly falls in love with him, that whole thing. She later finds out that the homeless guy that she slept with and was in a romance with, now was very successful. He is a head chef and owns a restaurant. And he like named things after her because like she was really important to him. And that was a whole thing. And then eventually, like, up to this point, Ryle begins to be very jealous, and like it's about domestic abuse, and so they eventually get married, and then they go to this they go to Atlas's restaurant. So Atlas is the guy that she had a whole thing with in high school. And Alice is very much like, are you sure everything's okay? Like, it feel like something feels off. Like, you're not yourself. Like, you're not being yourself. And then Atlas and Ryle get into an altercation, and eventually, at some point, blah blah. Long story short, Lily leaves Ryle because he becomes very abusive. There's a very big scene where he sees a magnet on her fridge, and it's the magnet that Atlas gives her, and like, where did this come from, Lily? Where did this come from, Lily? This whole thing. And like, basically he tosses her down a flight of stairs while pregnant. She's pregnant.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's the whole plot. Everything is fine. She gives birth, and they ended up getting a divorce. Because there's a scene, I don't know if they kept it in. I know that it was added into the movie where she asks, Ryle if you had a daughter and she told you that her boyfriend was hitting her or hurting her, what would you do? And what then was his response? I didn't watch the movie. Okay, that like I don't know if you guys saw how I don't know what the response was. I assume it was like, from what I remember, they did a shared parental situation, and she ends up with Atlas, blah blah. There's a sequel where like her and Atlas live their life. It's like that's good. But that's the end of that story. So what really got into during this time is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. It came out that Blake Lively started suing Justin Baldoni over allegations of sexual harassment, defamation, and like retaliatory smear campaigns following their collaboration on the film. So Justin Baldoni was both the director and an actor and writer, I believe, on the set. And he has his own podcast where it's very much like talking about men's mental health and like that whole issue. He really used his platform to talk about domestic abuse and that topic. From what I know of, Blake Lively and Colleen Hoover both advertised the film as a romantic comedy, and kind of hid the fact that it was about domestic abuse. I mean, I wouldn't say hid, but like didn't really talk about it. They even said like, wear your florals to the movie theater, like, you know, Barbie, like, wear pink, wear your pink, wear your white. They said wear florals. go with your girlfriends and wear florals to go see the movie. Oh my goodness. And so during all this, because also Blake Lively has a history of being seen as controversially person, not being nice on set. And so that whole thing happened. So to give some background, in December 2024, Blake Lively filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment during the production of It Ends With Us. She alleged that Baldoni engaged in inappropriate behavior, including unsolicited physical contact and unprofessional comments. Lively also claimed that after she raised concerns, Baldoni and his production company, Wayfair Studios, initiated a smear campaign to damage her reputation. Now that's all according like the Times and Sunday Times, and that is generally what happened. And from what I understand, is that what I find really funny is that during all this things, because he also countersued,
right?
And so following her initial complaint, she filed a lawsuit against Baldoni and Manfred Studios, alleging that sexual harassment occurred in retaliation. Also, apparently there was like iffy on whether or not there was an intimacy coordinator on there, which is actually because there's multiple sex scenes.
Okay.
So they want to make sure that like everything's safe. It seemed like she initially, well, he asked her about it and like make sure like you want an intimacy coordinator on set, like it's all in the receipts.
Right. Is there like a place where these receipts can be found, or is it just like on the internet, on Twitter?
There's 100% a place where you can find the receipts. It's called a website called that Justin Baldoni made himself, called I forget what it's called. I'll link it in the bio if people want to know more about it. But it came out on TikTok. That Justin Baldoni has a whole website where you can go see both the lawsuit information and also included are all the receipts of all these things. And according to Baldoni's countersuit, in response, Baldoni filed a $400 million lawsuit against Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds and their publicist, accusing them of defamation, civil extortion, and invasion of privacy. He contended that Lively attempted to exert undue control over the film's production, and upon facing criticism, falsely accused him to deflect blame. That's according to Vanity Fair.
Wow. Get your sources. Look at you.
Also, like, to get into, like, about whether or not, like, industry reactions.
Right.
They've been mixed. Baldoni was dropped by his talent agency, WME, and had an award rescinded by Vital Voices.
Oh, my goodness.
Also, author Colleen Hoover, whose novel was the basis for the film, publicly supported Lively. I also want to be known, I think, from my knowledge, Taylor Swift is also being called on to speak on...
That's her best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to. Which I think speaks to a lot. If Taylor Swift, the best friend of Blake Lively, does not want to speak
on that
issue.
Yeah.
A federal judge has scheduled the trial for March 2026.
Okay.
So we're not getting a trial until next year.
Yeah.
March of next year. Both parties have been instructed to refrain from public statements that could influence the case's outcome. As the legal battle continues, it underscores the complexities of workspace dynamics and the influence of public relations in high-profile disputes. That's also according to the Times and the Sunday Times.
Wow.
With that being said, I also find it really weird. I found a TikTok earlier. I just want to mention it. There people have been talking about how they noticed that during this all going down, it was a hearing that was going down, that Ryan Reynolds was caught taking autographs, but all of the people's things were using the same cardboard and the same tape. Yeah, and I was just like.
Is that planned?
That sounds a little planned. But then when you see like
planned?
other people that are in like Justin Baldoni and also apparently during the premiere, him and his family and like other producers were sent to the basement to celebrate, whereas they were doing stuff upstairs. I don't understand what that was. I don't want to like say like what that was because I was just seeing that on TikTok.
Right.
But yeah, in summary, I'm really excited to, like, I feel like this is, like, gonna be, like, 2026's version of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited.
Yeah. I remember being in school just, like, watching that, like, after
everyone
school.
was. They had it on, like, was it Live Court TV? Whatever it was called? They had it on
Live Court. They had it on Instagram. They had it on TikTok,
it was so
YouTube.
Good.
It was so entertaining. But, like, on another note that I kind of want to tie in, going back to what I said earlier, about like the TikTok and the descriptions, obviously, like, I don't want to put too much into it because I am now hearing about it from today and I don't know much, but when you said that the book was being put out as a romance even by the author, but I feel like, does she not have a team?
Where is her PR?
Do you have
PR? It's like how I felt about I don't know if I should talk about this. There was a controversy in the book community that I found out while working at the library. I forget, I think it's the author of
Heartstopper?
Maybe Heartstopper.
Possibly.
No, it's Red, White, Royal, Blue.
Oh.
That one.
Yeah.
And it was that author, and apparently they came out with another book, and it was all about, and they released a a PR box to go with it and send it to people. They had a vibrator included because it was meant to be for the senses. Yeah, there was lube and a vibrator included. But how did that pass?
But here's the thing, like,
how did that pass PR? Was there an age restriction?
I mean, I know, like, certain books aren't supposed to be, like, I know that this is me personally and, like, a lot of my friends, we were reading a little bit of explicit, raunchy things at, like, 15, 16.
It's different to read that,
but, like,
than getting
box?
a literal box, a PR box that's meant to be, like, celebrating your book release.
Right.
And it has,
guys, those are adult items for a reason.
Like, yeah,
it's like, not like, I'm not trying to shame anyone, even if you are around that age, but like it's not appropriate, especially as like a industry wise.
That's why I was just like, it's not professional.
Yeah.
I'll say it's not. I will say it's not professional.
Yeah, it's not professional. Like,
I wouldn't say it's not appropriate. I say it's not professional.
I'm saying it's not appropriate for the author to release that.
Yeah,
with book items.
Also, the fact that
with their PR.
That had to go through so many people.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And they all were like, yes, that's a good idea. But again, with like the making it known what is... I feel like there's a lot of organization. Like, I think the theme of the podcast today is organization and structure. But there has to be some type of level of structure when going into these things.
Yeah.
And like, even just simply announcing and telling the people who are involved with you what type of structure and what you want to be put out there on the internet. Once you put on the internet, everybody's up to their own vices, and like, they are able to make their own opinions and critiques because you let it out for the public. So not having a put together thing, especially when there is a prevalent theme of domestic violence and abuse in a book, I wouldn't even call that dark romance. That's not. I wouldn't advertise it as anything. I'd be like, it is a truthful story about a woman's experience. That's how I would advertise it as, because it depicts what a lot of women go through, and I feel like describing it. Also, there's a whole plot line where she she finds comfort in the show Ellen. Oh, goodness.
And keeps the line, just keep swimming, that gets repeated a lot from Dory.
Dory, yeah.
And I was like, this is weird. Why is this included?
I just want to make it known that, like, stuff like that is not okay.
Where's PR?
And but like, also, what standards are we raising that like PR thinks that's okay?
Yeah.
Because like, think about it. There's people in her PR team that probably just graduated, like, not too much older than us.
As someone that wants to go into PR, that's not acceptable.
Like, who of the higher ups approve that? She needs to reevaluate. A lot of people need to reevaluate their teams and what they're putting out there.
Yeah. Organization. That's our theme for today.
That's the theme. Organization. You gotta have it on the screen, just pop up. Organization.
Like, speaking of organization, this is near the end of our show.
So
near the end of this, so just to remind you guys, remember to keep a lookout for any notifications on our Instagram, on our TikTok, on our YouTube, especially with our new segment that's gonna be out. I don't even want to call it something, like a new thing that's gonna be out.
Our new segment on YouTube called Comfy Convos. Look out for that. It's more personalized. It is gonna be really fun. The entire environment's gonna change. It's gonna be very comfy. Maybe we might adapt a vlog style. Who knows? Who knows?
But because we want to demonstrate you guys what our relationship is like. We want to get you guys to get to know you guys. And we might need to talk about random stuff. Maybe it's not even book related. Who knows?
And even if it is, it's like, even when it is book related, we want to show that it doesn't have to be like you have to sit down and read a book. You could be two friends in a cute little comfy environment, just simply discussing and going into
that's our vibe.
One of the things about the books, because let's be honest, cameras recording or not, we're sitting in bed discussing books.
We really are. And
on someone's couch.
Because we constantly say, well, what if there was a camera on us right now?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, guys, make sure to keep updated on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'll definitely be posting about when this episode will be coming out.
Yep.
And our next episode won't be out until the next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
2 Tuesdays from now.
2 Tuesdays from now.
So we're gonna try to keep a consistent schedule of every other Tuesday.
Yep.
If not, then we'll update you guys and on Instagram, be like, hey,
yeah,
episodes when we come out. What do you want right now?
Yeah, guys, please interact in the comments. We do look at the comments on YouTube, our Instagram, like I said, everything like social media related. We really want to have this as a personalized community and just be able to talk to you guys. And I'm gonna be honest, some of you guys have been giving us the most wonderful feedback we ever can imagine, and we're really, really appreciative.
And I know you guys
so
next want icebreaker next, apparently, according to what we want, which I'm fine with. I love a good hockey romance. We love you guys. So
we love you.
See you.
Stay safe. Stay loved. See you soon.